Good day, student. I welcome you to 2019 academic section. My name is Edu, your tutor for computer literacy. I congratulate you, student, who passed your examination, because for you to be qualified to write an examination, it means you passed your assignment already. Sorry, those who passed the assignment. So it means you already written your assignment, and your assignment you did well, you passed the assignment. That is why you are qualified to write an examination. So today's presentation is an examination-based presentation. Once again, I welcome you to this presentation. I also welcome you to IOL, the best institute on earth. At IOL, we teach others to copy. We take the lead. So feel at home, feel relaxed while I take you through the examination-based content class. So today's presentation is a presentation that is going to guide you for the examination come 2019. This presentation is for who? This presentation is for pre-primary education students. That is, it's for students that are taking diploma in pre-primary education. PPE Cl11, and the students that are taking Bachelor of Education, Senior Primary, DESP Cl11. I want to repeat this or emphasize this because computer literacy is a subject that is compulsory for all students of IOL, irrespective of the program you take, because we are in computer age. Now, if you go onto your student portal, you might see different computer literacy subject uploaded. Please check that you download the right subject for your program. So that is why I first of all have this slide that tells whom all this. So this very one is for diploma in pre-primary education. That is DPPE and Bachelor of Education Senior Primary. Look before you download, or check before you download. Let's put it that way. All right. This presentation is for April, August, and November 2019 examination. This presentation is for April, August, November 2019 examination. What does that mean? There is not going to be another presentation apart from this one. Previously, we used to have presentation for April examination, another presentation for August, another presentation for November. But now we've compiled everything together, so nobody is disadvantaged. Everybody is given equal platform for learning. So it doesn't matter if you are going to write April examination, you are going to write August or November. This presentation is for all students that are going to write computer literacy for diploma in pre-primary education, senior primary education, come 2019. Okay, are you ready for the examination? It's time for exam. You know, when it is time for exam, people begin to feel uneasy, you know. You begin to have examination fever, examination headache. Come on, don't be worried. There's nothing difficult about examination. As I always tell you, it's as easy as eating kapana. So just relax. It's not something big, something very easy. You are going to pass, I assured you that. But remember, I always tell my students, for you to pass, terms and conditions apply. What are those terms and conditions? I will tell you during this time, this process of presentation. Okay. Take note of this, very necessary. This presentation is not an examination scope, it's a guide. This is not a scope. It's not a scope where we tell you this is the topic you must read, or this is the section you must read. No. It's to guide you. So I don't want to receive calls after the examination complaining, Mr. Edo, there is a question that's in your question paper but was not in the presentation. The presentation is not synonymous. It's not the same thing with your question paper. So this is not a question paper. This is a presentation to guide you. all right? It's to guide you. This is not a question paper. So, for you to pass, don't rely only on the presentation. Don't rely only on the presentation. How will the examination look like? When you get your question paper of computer literacy, you will be required to answer all the questions in the question paper. But for you to do very well in your examination question paper, it's good for you to familiarize yourself with the examination verbs. The examination verbs or phrases, where can you find them? I know most of my colleagues already spoken about that, but for those of you doing pre-primary, I'm sure this is a familiar thing to you. Can you say this? For those of you doing pre-primary, I'm sure you have your what do you call it, your study guide for the pre-primary student. Now, for every study guide of IOL, there is a page where you find these verbs. I quickly want to show you, for the sake of reminder, on this study guide of the pre-primary, okay, if you look at the back, there you will see meanings, thinking of examination verbs. Yeah, on this page, there you can find them, okay? You can find them. All these terms, all these verbs that are here, they are for examination. You must go through them. Most time, we student, or you student at times, we kind of overlook those verbs and say, well, it's not part of the subject, I don't care about it, but they work against you when it comes to the examination. How do they work against you? Let me give you one instance. Let's take for an example. If I ask you, explain computer virus, okay? Or I ask you again, define computer virus, discuss computer virus. Can you see now? I expect different things here. To define is different to explain. To explain is different to discuss. So what does it mean to discuss? Go through those verbs as you find them in your study guide so that you will know what is required of you when you see a question. This is very, very necessary. All right? Okay, let's continue with our discussion. The examination question paper, the questions in the examination, where would they come from? They are not coming from heaven. The questions are already with you. So, Mr. Edo, how come? Yes, the questions are with you. Can I show you where the questions are coming from? Your study guide. The questions are there. We don't pick questions from anywhere else. We pick questions from your course outline, your module, your study guide. If you look at your study guide, your study guide, I want to use this one as an example. That is one thing that most of you don't really pay attention to. That's why I brought the study guide to the recording studio today. Here is a study guide on Unit 1, Concept of Information Technology. Here is a study guide. Now, before the study guide is written in details, you will see the explain expected learning outcome. You always see the expected learning outcome. Under the expected learning outcome, you will see on completion of this study guide unit, you should be able to, can you see that? You always say there, on completion of this unit, you should, who is you? You, my student. You should be able to do what? At the end of this unit, what must you be able to do? Let me read one to you. You should be able to define a computer and explain computer literacy. You should be able to explain the importance of information technology. So the expected learning outcome are the things that I expect you to know at the end of this unit. Now, if I'm going to examine you as a tutor, I will look also at your expected learning outcome. From there, I drop my question. I want to see if this student is able to explain that thing that was written at the expected learning outcome. So here are the questions. The questions are here. It now depends how I frame them. And what am I going to use to frame them? I'm going to use those verbs to frame them. For example, in unit, it says, at the end of this unit, the student should be able to define a computer. So I'm going to ask you to define a computer. I may not ask you everything here, but I can ask you to define a computer, because that is what I expect of you. There's another thing that says the student should be able to define software and their classification. So where are your questions coming from? Your questions are coming from here. Can you see where the questions are coming from? The questions are coming from here. Your expected learning outcome. Now, if you look at computer literacy for the pre-primary and student that takes a senior primary education, you will see that, for example, in semester 1, you have Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3. Yeah, you have 3 units in semester 1. And also in semester 2, you have about 3 or 4 units. You must go through all these things. Don't overlook any of them. Very easy. Okay. So you know where your questions are coming from. The questions are coming from your study guide. So go through the expected learning outcome. All the things that you're expected to know there. You must know them. Don't ignore everything. I might not ask you everything, but I'll ask you majority there. All right? Let's continue. Something else that is going to help you in this examination is for you to review your assignments. For you to review your assignments. Why is reviewing your assignment something very necessary or something that is of importance to you? The assignment and the examination, they have the same format. When something is of the same format, then you know where you are going. So the assignment, the examination, they have the same formats. Now, if you have really done the assignment very well, you shouldn't be worried about the examination. It's the same format you are going to see, only we are going to twist the question in a different in a different way. So there's nothing to be worried about if already you have seen your assignment and actually you've done your assignment. So go through your assignment questions again. Something else that will be of help to you here is this. Before I talk about the second point, there is something else I still want to emphasize concerning the assignment. And what is that thing? If you look at the assignment that I gave to you, there is a section for theory. There is another section for practicals. Now, when it comes to your examination, in your examination, you are not going to have practicals in the examination hall. No. However, you will be examined on the practical skills that you already acquired. For example, when I give you assignment, I gave you something on Microsoft Word. I also gave you something on Microsoft Excel. Now, when it comes to the when it comes to the examination, I'm not going to ask you to sit in front of the computer and do work for me on the computer, but I'm going to test you. I'm going to examine you on the practical knowledge you already have. Let's take an example. I can ask you, for example, to explain how to save a document. I can ask you, for example, to explain how to print a document. These are practical things that I can ask you in the examination. Do you understand? Yes. I'm answering for you here because I know even if you answer there, I'm not going to hear you. So I'm answering on your behalf. All right, are you with me? Don't play with your phone while listening to this presentation. Please, you might be distracted. So keep your phone somewhere. Switch it off now. Have you done that? The Holy Spirit is seeing you. If you lie, the Bible says anybody that lies against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven. Nah. So don't lie. Keep the phone away now and listen to me so that you don't get distracted. Okay? Listen to the presentation. Don't be distracted. Switch off the TV. Don't watch Z Word while you are listening to me. Be focused. Okay? All right. Let's continue with our discussion. What else can be of help to you here? Let me tell you one secret also. It's a secret. No? Don't say IOL that I told you. It's just a secret. No? Good. Right. What is that secret? Past examination question papers. Past examination question papers. Why is going through past examination question paper something that can really help you? The secret is this. The course outline at times can be valid for 5 years. It depends on different course outline. So if my course outline, that is the model, is not yet reviewed by NQA, if it's not yet reviewed, then we're still using the same course outline, meaning the questions revolve around the same course outline until it is reviewed. Do you understand what I'm saying now? So if I still have things like computer virus, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, the same thing for 5 years, so the question also revolve around the same thing. We might not use the same question paper. We change them, but the same procedure, the same concept, the same formats. So if you can download from your student portal of IOL past examination question paper, you are very close to the promised land. And what is the promised land? To pass your examination. So download past question papers. Go through them and try to solve the question papers. But let me say something very clear here, a kind of a warning. And what is that? Do not download past question papers and send them to me to answer and send them back to you. Don't examine me here. Nah. What am I trying to say? I saw a student last year who downloaded a past question paper and she sent everything to me. Mr. Edo, can you please answer all these questions and send it to me? Aye. Don't do that. It is your responsibility, it is your duty to go through the questions yourself. Attempt to answer them. Why trying to answer the questions if you come across a question perhaps you don't really understand how to answer the question, then Mr. Edo comes in to guide you. You call me or SMS me, give me a call, Miss Request, IOL student, I will call you. Then I will tell you this is how to answer the question. So don't send the past question papers to me to answer and send to you. Do you understand? Yes. What again can be of help to you? The tutor feedback. The tutor feedback. Every time a tutor marks an assignment, every time a tutor marks an examination, when we are done with our marking, we always compile all the mistakes made by students. After the compilation of all the mistakes, we make recommendations based on the mistake made. Okay, dear student, you made these very mistakes in your assignment. You made these mistakes in your examination. We compile them together, not for one student. We try to summarize all the mistakes together. Then we also write a recommendation on how to answer the questions. So those feedback from the tutor are always uploaded onto the student portal. Download them and see. Learn from other people's mistakes. Don't fall on the same page. Don't make the same mistakes they made. So in my feedback of previous examination, you must have seen me highlighting the mistake made by some student. You look at those mistakes and make sure you don't repeat them in your own time. Learn from the mistake of other people so that you don't repeat them. So I've equally told you quite some things that can help you in this examination. I've mentioned number 1, your study guide. I've mentioned number 2, past question examination papers. I've equally mentioned again. What did I mention again? Can you remember me the third one? If you are listening to me. What is the third one? The third one is the feedback you get from the tutor. Don't ignore them. Do you understand? Good. Let's continue our discussion. Now, the examination format. When you get your question paper, you will see 15 multiple choice questions. Where will these multiple choice questions come from? From your study guides. From your study guides. They will come from your study guides. So, I said 15 multiple choice questions. So I can pick from any unit, from unit 1 to the last unit. Now when it comes to answering the multiple choice questions, please, there are 4 options, A, B, C, D. Look very well before you pick an option, because the instruction always says, from the options provided, pick the best option. So an option might seem to you to be right, but it might not be the best. It might not be the best. If I ask you, for example, which one is the best device to enter data into the computer, you might have 2 devices that can be used to enter data into the computer, but among them, which one is the best? Now, for you to pick the best answer, you must go through all the options, then circle it. In case you change your mind, please erase the previous option so that you don't have 2 answers submitted. If you have 2 answers submitted, then it becomes invalid. That is concerning the multiple choice. After the multiple choice, what next are you going to see? You're going to see a page in question 2 where you will be asked to define certain computer terms. Terms like what? Hardware, computer, software, and so on. But the question is this: those terms that I will ask you to define, where would they come from? From your study guide. Remember I told you that at the beginning of every unit, there you will see the expected learning outcome. The student should be able to define these. The student should be able to explain these. The student should be able to discuss these. Those are the things that I will ask you in under this section. Can you define a hardware? Can you define a software? Can you define a computer virus, the causes of computer virus, website cookies, modem? Let me also make something very clear here when it comes to this very section. I want you to look at something on the screen, a word there. Not really a word, it's an acronym called modem. Modem. There's another one there called ALU, A-L-U. There's another one you can see there, R-A-M, RAM. There's another one there, R-O-M, ROM. Can you see that these concepts, they are written in capital letter? Why? They are not words on their own. They are not words on their own. They are an acronym, meaning each alphabet stands for a meaning of a word. Let's take for example, if I say RAM, RAM means random access memory. So for you to answer that question, first of all, tell me the meaning of that acronym. So if I were you, I would write RAM. Then first of all, I will give the meaning. RAM stands for random access memory. Then you continue the discussion. Modem, modulator, demodulator. Then you continue the discussion. That is what it is used for, and so on and so on and so forth. So under this section, you will be expected to define certain computer terminologies that we often use when we are in the computing environment. Apart from this very section, what else will you see? You will see further questions drawn from your course outline, your module, which you'll be asked to discuss in details. Let me take one example and explain to you how to go about it. Let's take an example of the questions like this. Discuss the impact of computer usage in education. Discuss the impact of computer usage in education. What do I expect you to do when it comes to a question like this or similar questions like this? Look at that question. I want you to discuss the impacts. When we say the impact, what does it mean? How it affects. Do you understand that now? How it affects. And something can affect something in a positive way. It can also affect it in a negative way. So if I use the word, the impact, I'm not really talking about the advantages only. I'm not talking about the disadvantages only. It can be both of them. So an impact can be advantages, at the same time, disadvantage. So if you are told to discuss the impact, just know that it can be an advantage, it can also be a disadvantage. Then if you look at that question again, it said the impact of computers in education. Here it is a specific question, in education. So don't discuss anything that we can do with computer that is outside education, if the question says in education. So if you are trying to tell me here that we can use computer for entertainment, we can use computer for in the bank, you are wrong, my friend, because I'm talking about education. So if the question is talking about computer in the society, then you are free to talk about any sector of the society. Do you understand that now? If the question says computer in the society, you are free to talk about any sector. So look at the question, whether it is asking you about education only, it is asking you about the banking only, or it is asking you generally. And when it comes to answering this question, First of all, identify the advantage before you discuss it. What I'm trying to say is that, for example, I'm talking about the impact of computer in education. Okay, I have a point. And what is my point? Computer can be used in education to make research. That is my point. To make research. That one that you have written to make research will give you 1 point. But I have to discuss how does computer help here in making research. So mention the fact, mention the point, then do what? Discuss it. If you mention it alone, you get 1 point. If you mention it and discuss everything, then you get your full marks. So mention, discuss, give examples. Do you understand? Mention, discuss, give example. I repeat again. Mention it, discuss it, give examples. Then you have your full marks. That is one thing, because I really feel kind of pity for some of you who are still struggling with computer literacy with the pre-primary education, because some of you have written this examination 1 or 2, 3 times and you still not meet up. These are some of the things that make you to fail. If a question carries 3 marks, for you to have your 3 marks, you must be able to mention it, discuss it. Don't just mention the point and you expect me to give you 3 marks. No. So pay attention to these things that I'm talking about in this presentation. If you look at the next slide, it said the impact of computer usage in our society, then is the whole society. As I said before, you are free to use any sector of the society. Let's move from this section and move to the next area, which is about the use of internet. I can ask you, it's possible to ask you also, what are the advantages of computer? What are the advantages of using internet? What are the advantages of using internet? Here, students also make mistakes again. There is a difference between the advantages of the internet and the advantages of the computer. Why? I might have a computer, but that computer is not connected to the internet. Can you see that? I might have a computer, but that computer is not connected to the internet. So if a question says the advantages of the use of internet, if you give me a point that has to do with the use of computer only, then you are wrong. So pay attention if I'm asking you the advantages of the internet, or I'm asking you the advantages of the computer. But if I ask you the advantages of ICT, it's a different issue. It's a different issue here. So look at your question technically, and all these things they are discussed in your study guide. Let's move further to another section of the model. At times you see a question that says, use a diagram to explain this. Use a diagram to discuss this. What does it mean when a question says, use a diagram to do this? What it means is this. It means you must draw the diagram and label the diagram and explain all the components in that diagram. It means you must draw the diagram, you must label the diagram, you must also explain all the components in that diagram. Do you understand that now? Now, when you talk about diagram for the information processing cycle, I'm not asking you to draw a monitor, a keyboard, a mouse for me. Let me refer you to I almost said let's go to the Bible. I thought I'm in the church. Anyway, this is our Bible in computer literacy, because I almost said let's open our Bible. We are opening our study guide, which is our Bible in this course. Okay? If you open to page 21 of your study guide, page 21, I think it's on page 21. I want to show you a diagram. I intentionally not have it on the PowerPoint presentation, because there's always a question, where do you get it from? I want to show you live. Everything that you are going to be asked is from your study guide. It's not page 21, please pardon me, on page 12. On page 12, there you see this diagram of information processing cycle. I'm showing you from your study guide. Diagram of information processing cycle. So when I ask you to draw a diagram of information processing cycle, I'm not asking you to draw a keyboard, a mouse. It's a sketch of a diagram. And if you look at that, it has about 4 components. So you should label the components. Label the component. After labeling the component, explain the components. Then you get your full marks. So if a question says, use a diagram to explain this, draw the diagram, label the diagram, explain all the components of the diagram, then you can have your full marks. There's something with me. If you merit 100 over 100, I give it to you. I don't keep anything for myself. I'm not stingy with my marks. But they are not free. Kapana is not free, even if you can test free at single quarters. For those of you who are not in Windhoek, anytime you come to Windhoek, make sure you visit single quarters, you have kapanas. If you don't have money, you can even test free. The computer literacy marks are not free. They are not kapana. They are just easy as kapana. Okay, let's carry on with our class. All right. Computer security and safety issue. This is another area of the study guide that students a little bit struggle with. Please, they are in your study guide. Pay attention to it. There are other issues that I equally want you to really look at while preparing for your examination. That is the basic operations of the computer. If I ask you to boot your computer, what does it mean to start your computer? Do you know how to shut down your computer? Do you know how to create a folder? Do you know how to save a document? Do you know how to print a document? Do you know how to change the name of a folder? These are some of the operations that I want you to know because they are in your study guide. Then I can also ask you in the exam to explain how to do them. All right? Let's go to another area now, which is Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel. Why did I mention it 3 times? I remember my father said, make sure I don't call you 3 times. If I call you 3 times, there is problem. Excel is not a problem. It's just that at times, some of you kind of take it to be very difficult. But it's not difficult. Let us see how you can answer questions when it comes to Microsoft Excel. Are you ready? Let's go. Let's look at a sample question here. Here is a sample question on Microsoft Excel. Now on Microsoft Excel, I can ask you a question like, how many columns are there on this spreadsheet? Let's look at the columns. Can you see? A, B, C, D. So meaning we have column A, column B, column C, column D. So how many columns are there? 4 columns. 4 columns. The question is, why is this one not counted as a column? Every column, when it comes to Microsoft Excel, has an alphabet. Can you see that every column has an alphabet? But this very one has no alphabet here. It's not a column here. So you don't count it. Every column has an alphabet. Now if I ask you again, how many rows are here? Row 1, row 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7 rows. So let's go back to some of those questions. I'm going to put one. Yeah, here we go. How many columns are there in this spreadsheet? How many columns? 4. How many rows are in this spreadsheet? 7. Another common question is, name a cell that has a value. Name a cell that has a value. But before then, what is a value? A value in Microsoft Excel means numbers. A value means numbers. So any cell where you can find a number, you can write it. If I ask you, name a cell that has value. Any cell that has a value. Can we look at the spreadsheet and figure out any one? Here I can get one. Cell B2. How will you write it? Look at the way I'm going to write it. Can you see the way I have written it? B2. You don't write it like this. If you write it like that, this is wrong. This is wrong, but this is correct. You don't write it like this. No, you don't write it like this. You don't write it also like this. These are wrong ways of writing your cells. Don't write them like this. Do you understand? Yes. It must be the alphabet. Can you see that now? The alphabet before the number. So if I ask you to write a cell where there is a value, look for any cell where you can see a number, then you write it. If I ask you to write a cell where there is a label, any cell where there is a label, what are labels? Labels are alphabets. In other words, labels are letters. Labels are letters. A, B, C, D, E, F. You understand? Labels are alphabet. Labels are letters. So let's look at our spreadsheet again. Can you see any cell where there are labels, where there are alphabet? Yes, I can see. Let's look at apple here. Apple is alphabet. So cell A2, orange, cell A3. Can you see that there are mango, cell A6. So any cell where there is alphabet, that is a label. Just write the name of the cell for me. Do you understand? Fine. Are you with me? Is your mind here? Okay. One thing about this video is that if you play it the first time you don't understand, play it over and over and over. That is the power of technology. That's why I told you forget about Z word for now and focus on your education. Play it over and over, you will understand. Another common question that we ask when it comes to Microsoft Excel is the use of formulas. Let's look at this example again. Mention is the let's go to the question that will be of help to you. Okay, write down the formula used in cell D2. Write down the formula used in cell D2. How do you go about this question? You go back to the table. Where is D2? Here is D2. Can you see that now? D2. Now the question is, which formula was used here that gave us this 17,5? Which formula was used here that gave us this 17,5? There you have to think now as a student. Nobody does the thinking for you. You have to think. What do you think I have done to get this 17.5? Common sense, that is not common in a common place at times, is this. Here says price per bottle. Can you see that now? Here says quantity sold. Now, can you see the sense is coming now? Right. The price I sold a bottle is 3,50. How many quantity did I sell? 5. So how much will be with me? What will you do? Definitely you are going to multiply 3,50 multiply by 5 to give me 17,5. Now when it comes to writing the formula, this is how you're going to write it. Let me write it for you now. You're going to say equal. Why are you writing equal? Every Excel formula starts with the equal sign. Equal what now? Remember, I multiplied I multiplied 3,50. Now 3,50 is in which of the cells? It's in cell B2. So you write the name of the cell, not the value that is there. Don't write the value that is there. Don't write the number that is there. Write the name of the cell. So instead of you writing 3,50, you write the name of the cell where the value is. Do you understand? Yes. So B2 multiply This is our multiplication sign. Multiply by 5. But remember, do not write the 5. Write the cell where the 5 is. Multiply by C2. So here is the formula I'm looking for. Can you see that now? B2 multiplied by C2. So I'm going to wash out for number 1. Does your formula have the equal sign? Have you written well the way it should be written, the name of the cells? And is the operator well used? And is the formula correct? So it's very easy for you, but you need to practice this for you to get used to it. If you don't practice, it's going to be difficult for you. So you have to practice it. So practice on it, then you can get used to it. In summary, the common things we look at according to your expected learning outcome in Microsoft Excel is, I'm going to ask you to mention name of cells that have values, that have labels, cells that, how many columns do we have, how many rows do we have, similar things I can ask you. Then I can ask you the use of formulas also in Excel. Those ones you cannot escape them. Unfortunately, they must be there. They must be there. All right? But it's good you know that they will be there. There will be a question on Microsoft Excel. Since you already know, you can get prepared for it. All right? Besides this, Microsoft Excel, you're going to see questions for on internet and email. Do you use internet at home? I know you do. Even some of you will say, I don't have a laptop, but from your phone you always buy data. Né? Do you use internet at home? If you have not been using internet, please try using it today to practice some of these things. Just buy Away Gig. Né? No, Away Gig is very easy. It gives you some data that you can use. Now, when it comes to the email and data, what does it mean? Email and internet, rather. What does it mean to download? What does it mean to upload? Can you remember when you created your Facebook account? Don't tell me, Mr. Edu, I don't have a Facebook account. You are lying. I know your Facebook account. That is a joke, by the way. Anyway, can you remember when you created your Facebook account? When you go to a particular place, the Facebook says, upload your picture. When you upload, where are you taking it from? Remember, you're taking it from your phone or from your computer where you stored your picture and you put it on Facebook server. Now, when we say download, what does it mean? Can you get the difference between upload and download? I'm just using Facebook as an example. I know not everybody have a Facebook account, but it's just an example. Even those of you who have WhatsApp, you say something at times when you created your profile, you say upload your picture, your profile picture. So what does it mean to upload? What does it mean to download? Then what does it mean to browse the internet? What about email, homepage, and so on? So I want you to also familiarize yourself with this concept of email and internet. Please, it will be of great help to you when it comes to examination. You must be able to tell me, when it comes to examination, how to write an email and send, how to compose an email, how to attach a document when sending an email. What are the difference between to reply and to reply all? Those of you who perhaps are always using your email, have you seen the difference between reply and reply all? Please try and see how it works. For those of you who have not been using email, please use your phone with the data you have to see how reply and reply all works. Why am I trying to say this? If you know the practicals, it is very easy for you to remember. Don't also forget PowerPoint, how to create PowerPoint, the things you can add to your PowerPoint to make it look nice, how to create your slides when it comes to PowerPoint. Microsoft Word is another area that you must not forget. You will now observe and agree with me that the diploma in pre-primary education is wide because you write only one examination. Okay? So Microsoft Word, please pay attention to it. Practice on it so that you will be able to answer the questions. and every other thing that you find in your study guide. Now, before I conclude my presentation, the options that will help you to pass your examination. Read the study guides. Read your study guides. Read your study guides. Study your study guide from Genesis to Revelation, from beginning to the end. Do not ignore anything there. When should you start? Today. Now. Don't wait until 2 months, 1 month, 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 days before you start. Start now. Take it unit by unit. They call me. Get in touch with me. Then I can explain it to you. Don't wait until the last minute before you start. By then, it will be too late. You cannot equalize 10-0 within 2 minutes to the end of the mesh. Well, maybe it's possible. I don't know. I'm not a soccer specialist to equalize 10-0. What I'm trying to say is that don't always wait to the last minute before your examination, before you start. Start. The presentation that I've given to you is about 45 minutes to 1 hour. There is no way Mr. Edo can explain everything to you within this time of the presentation. However, you are free to get in touch with me through my cell phone number 081-480-4091, or probably also you can email me. I'm there for you to guide you. I remain yours. Edo is the name. I wish you all the best in your examination come 2019. Love you all.